Cd11 Life Coaching with Firatos. The Sacred Council, 11 out of 32. The Guiding Force of Firatos. Firatos, the guiding force of heat and the energy of fire. Pace yourself in order to digest life. I am Firatos, keeper of the third dimension, representing the energy of fire, through which I keep everything moving and in motion. Nothing stands still in the universe. It is an ongoing world of adventure. Quote, "Life is uncharted territory. It reveals its story one moment at a time." Leo F. Buscaglia. End of quote. Everything in creation has within itself the force of action, through which it sets itself in motion and as a reaction sets everything else in motion. On Mother Earth, you know me as the power of the sun, so everybody can move and do during the day, and I will remind you to take breaks, for too much heat can burn you out. You know my fire as the stove in your body located at the belly center, where I assist in the digestion and assimilation of thoughts, experiences, and food, supplying fuel to every cell and making sure you are able to move and digest all adventures by letting you adventure in such a pace that you can digest it all. Quote, "It is only in adventure that some people succeed in knowing themselves, in finding themselves." André Gide. End of quote. I am also called the keeper of motion and digestion. I am, however, just like you and anything else in creation, a creation of opposites. When you fail to tune into my positive side and try to experience too much and too fast, you can easily burn yourself up through indigestion and falling down into fear, expressed through pushing, forcing, and anger. Through my energy, I keep you exploring the things of this world, busy and in constant motion, physically and mentally. You may ask, why would you do something like this? And I will tell you that this is part of my job. And as I said before, I am part of the created world and there are two sides of me, just like within you. Quote, 3 reasons problems are inevitable. First, we live in a world of growing complexity and diversity. Second, we interact with people. And third, we cannot control all the situation we face. John C. Maxwell. End of quote. To sum it all up, I am guiding you regarding matters of action or overactivity, motion and movement or excessive motion and movement, patience or impatient, gentle or angry, adventurous or fearfully and scary, taking breaks or not knowing how to stop, stimulating or too explosive, constructive or destructive, forgiving or unforgiving, digesting or indigestion, pacing yourself or burning yourself up and getting burned out, yielding or speeding, taking your time or pushing and forcing, staying calm or being defensive. Firatos, knowing me and knowing what to do with me. Let's see how you unnecessarily struggle with my force in various aspects of your life, how you could change your perspective and even make some practical changes. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject, and any subject can have many books because each subject can be approached from various perspectives and angles. Most important is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth, and not the truth, because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time, and there is always more that can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is from our particular point of view and brought to you through the world of a visionary and mystical fiction. Hopefully, it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical, and magical way. By hearing or reading this information, you come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do, because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently, or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. Dealing with your real self, the soul. In regards to spiritual living, know that any fear in whatever aspect or form is the opposite of spirituality, for spirit is just love. So the only way to overcome any fear is to connect with that essence of love within yourself. Be gentle and forgiving, for everyone is under the sway of the mind and the sense organs that made you and others more into robots and only respond through their conditionings. Quote, "There is nothing stronger in the world than gentleness." Han Suyin. End of quote. Pace yourself in your thoughts and action by keeping your inner spiritual practice going all day long, and only in this way will you be able to digest life. Dealing with your mind. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that a mind driven by the sense organs always wants to do more and more, doesn't want to know about the consequences, and even runs away from the moment into the past and future. The mind makes you forget that you live in the world of opposites, and that there are consequences for everything you think, say, and do. When your life is driven by the sense organs, know that you will lose the ability to adventure the creation innocently, and you will connect to fear and justify your anger. Driven by the sense organs, you will race through life and burn yourself out. As long as you think that pushing and forcing things is the way to get things accomplished, and do not want to think about what it does to the health of your body and others, you will end up in many battles and injuries. Realize that most of your actions are based on fear, the fear of possibly not getting what you want, not getting it on time, not being worthy or good enough, or wanting to be recognized. Play out your roles in a gentle, forgiving way. Show patience and pace yourself to have a good balance between action and by taking breaks in the adventure. Quote, "Mind alone is our enemy. It is with us to keep us away from the eye focus." Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. Dealing with your body. In regards to dealing with your physical body, know that it is a composition of all material substances, but the fire substance reveals itself predominantly as your digestive and muscular system. It assists you to digest your life, and through the function of muscles you can move around and do physical things. When you do too much and overload the system, you easily burn yourself out. So be gentle with your body and pace yourself in order to digest it all. When you fail to do this, you trigger fear, which expresses itself through anger. Quote, "The strong man is not the good wrestler. The strong man is only the one who controls himself when he is angry." Mohammed. End of quote. Dealing with communication. In regards to communication, Speak in such a way so you and others can digest the content. Pace yourself and be patient with others. Try to convert something to you. Do not fall for anger expressed through fear-instilling words. Delay any conversation when you are in anger or when you are not in balance. Be gentle with your words. Quote, if the other person injures you, you may forget the injury, but if you injure him, you will always remember. Kahlil Gibran. End of quote. Dealing with food. In regards to dealing with nutrition, be aware that you are in general eat too fast, that you consume your meals not in a peaceful environment, that your meals are too complex, and that you swallow your food down before they are chewed properly, and this all creates tremendous stress on your body systems. When you observe this phenomena of stress, which is connected to too much, too fast, and too complicated in all areas of your life, you know that it is impossible to digest life, the circumstances, and your food, and all stressing your body even more. On top of all of this, you consume heavy meals and animal protein, which takes a lot of energy from your body in order to be digested. They go too slow through the body, just like old food that went through a heating process. Not to forget the consuming of coffee, black tea, alcohol, and all the sweets, as they go too fast through your system, and you wonder why you get indigestion and feel burned out. Too much fire does that. The accumulating of stress and heat has then the effect on our mental state of being, which fears that it cannot have and do it all, and this results again in anger. When you look how you eat and live your life, you come very fast to the conclusion that your body and mind do not get a break, and know that this all will result in something breaking down. In regards to fire energy foods, which is foods that grow up to human body height, which are all your grains and beans, know that you consume too much of them. Your life is already fast, and on top you eat cereals and breads and pastry and spaghetti, and most oils are made from corn, and do not forget the corn syrup that is in almost every bottled juice. Most of these products are white of color and thus bleached and reacting as a soda inside your body. You get a quick high, and then you're hungry again. Then the extreme fire foods are in addition on your plate, which is the consuming of animal flesh and animal products, all adding to the stress, as they are extremely hard to go through your system and adding to fear expressed through anger. Know that animals live in the kingdom of fear to attack and defend, and that you consume this fear, and on top of the fear, which the animal encountered when it was slaughtered. In general, you consume most foods that went through a heating process, being this cooking, boiling, frying, microwaving, etc., and that these foods during this heating process lose their contracting force, which makes them going too slow through your body, expanding your body system and leaving lots of waste behind. Nature has a sunfire kitchen that warms all the foods through the heat of the sun up in a natural way. When the sun rises in the morning, it wakes everything up that grows in the trees. At lunchtime, all that grows from human-sized body down to the soil. And in the evening, everything that grows by soil has been warmed. So, a way of eating could be in the morning fruits and fruit juices coming from the trees, which are called air foods. At lunch, grains, fire energy food with vegetables, or a fruit meal of the fruits that grow up to knee height, which are water energy foods. And in the evening, foods that come from below the soil, also called earth energy foods. Learn to take more breaks, pace yourself in life, and consume easy-to-digest meals. Learn to be more gentle with your body and consume your meals in a quiet environment, in peace. Last but not least, learn about digestive aids, which are used in different countries in the world after meals. You can use these as well when life itself is too much, too fast, and too complicated. Do some research on basil, peppermint, papaya, fennel, anise, and chamomile. Quote, I have to tell you the things I have told you often before, for until digestion is well established, medicine has to be taken. Sri Satya Sai Baba. End of quote. Dealing with staying fit. In regards to fitness, learn to take breaks and add the interval principle, which is an excellent way to practice action of doing exercises followed by short rests. To get some balance and relief is to work with the interval principle, as you cannot going all the time with the sun energy full speed and all day long. You need the energy of the moon and implement rests and breaks in order not to burn yourself up and out. So perform the interval principle. Each exercise is followed by a rest period. And there you do your stretch positions for the muscles you just activated. The better you are trained, the less rest time you will need to recover. The better you are trained, you can use the rest period for other but easier exercises. Walking. Keep changing your pace. Walk for some minutes faster, followed by a slower pace, and continue this principle during your entire walk. Integrating upper body motions are also a way to keep your workout fun and exciting. Flap your arms like wings, air boxing, shoulder shrugs, and also rotating your shoulders, and the upper body twist movements by your shoulders left and right. The interval principle is not about going too intense at all, as the body doesn't need a violent approach, for the price paid will be too high. Quote, if a warrior is to succeed at anything, the success must come gently, with a great deal of effort, but with no stress or obsession. Carlos Castaneda. End of quote. Dealing with your life partner. In regards to your relationships, know how to pace yourself in order to digest life, each other, and all the situations you will have to go through. Be gentle in all your actions with each other in this momentary adventure, and do not fall into fear, because it will express itself through anger and is only destructive. Quote, if you are patient in one moment of anger, you will escape 100 days of sorrow. Chinese proverb. End of quote. Realize that a relationship is about two people constantly having to forgive themselves and each other for their shortcomings. Dealing with your children. In regards to parenting, be very careful in pushing and forcing your children. Just find ways that are interesting so they will do things by themselves. Forcing and pushing always calls up resistance. Keep the violent movies and even subtle violent cartoons out of the house. Avoid bringing them into the world of racing, stress, and forcing and pushing. Learn from your children to be more forgiving, because they have saint-like qualities when they are very young. Teach your children that everything, even chores and studying, can be adventurous. Quote, you cannot write for children. They are much too complicated. You can only write books that are of interest to them. Maurice Sendak. End of quote. Give your children a life full of magic and adventures, and teach them to take short breaks. Become yourself adventurous again and bring boredom in the background. Give your children an inheritance of you being gentle and forgiving, and they will integrate these virtues as you are their role models. Help them understand that there is fear and anger within all of us, but that it doesn't need to be connected to people, places, and situations. Fear is just another worldly life experience, but when not dealt with in the right way, it goes into anger. Quote, "We could never learn to be brave and patient if there were only joy in the world." Helen Keller. End of quote. Give them projects that are not too easy and not too difficult, but achievable and digestible, which keeps the fear in the background. Too much food or too much of anything will affect the digestive system and triggers fear and anger. Be patient with your children, and they will be learning to be patient with you. Bless their life adventure, and just be there for them when they need you. Quote, "A mother's love is patient and forgiving. When all others are forsaken, it never fails or falters, even though the heart is breaking." Helen Rice. End of quote. Dealing with preserving the planet. In regards to taking care of the planet Earth, you need to reduce the enormous speed through which you are destroying yourself and the planet. Everything needs to be now. Quote, "Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience." Ralph Waldo Emerson. End of quote. Reduce the amount of engine-driven machines around you producing heat. Reduce fluorescent light and use incandescent light or vital lights. Assist to reduce global warming. Learn from nature and do not participate in the manipulating of nature. Quote, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." Lao Tzu. End of quote. Dealing with the teenage years. In regards to the teenage years, teenagers are often angry, don't know where it comes from, but connect this to their life situation. They want to do certain things but cannot yet, and feel restricted. Oftentimes they feel like pushing and forcing and see the violent way as the solution. Quote, "Conflict cannot survive without your participation." Wayne Dyer. End of quote. Without realizing your anger is based on fear, you are unable at this moment to change your situation as you are still in your parents' home. Quote, "The wise man in the storm prays to God, not for safety from danger, but deliverance from fear." Ralph Waldo Emerson. End of quote. Teenagers in general have little or no patience, for patience is for old people. They are anxious and restless, nothing exciting is going on, and most things are boring. They rush through things or drag things. Their healthy eating habits are way off. They don't care and just fill up and want to be left alone. Find ways to get your anger out in a natural way and make things easier for yourself, others, and your digestive system. Quote, "There is nothing wrong with anger, provided you use it constructively." Wayne Dyer. End of quote. Dealing with getting older. In regards to dealing with getting older, know that the older you become, the more patience you can show, as you have the experience that any rush doesn't bring anything in the long run. Getting older is an opportunity to become more gentle in all your actions, as you hopefully have learned to forgive yourself and others, with the understanding that everybody has their individual life adventure. The older you become, the more you have experienced that fear is just an illusion, and that you can just love it all. You see the evidence in the past that anger doesn't bring anything other than more anger, struggle and confusion. Slow down even more now, and really enjoy each moment in life's adventure, and by doing things slower, you can digest it all better. Quote, good character is not formed in a week or a month. It is created little by little, day by day. Protracted and patient effort is needed to develop good character. Religious of Ephesus. End of quote. Dealing with stress. In regards to dealing with stress, be careful not to drive your body like a race car and burning yourself out. Keep everything simple, for stress levels are going up when all becomes too complex and complicated. Cross as many things possible off on your endless to-do list and stop adding. Quote, the life of inner peace, being harmonious and without stress, is the easiest type of existence. Norman Vincent Peale. End of quote. Watch out for prolonging the evening, but always have a good night rest and take plenty of breaks to avoid that something breaks. Learn to take your time in all your actions, otherwise you will be unable to digest your life situations, resulting in becoming angry. Avoid forcing and pushing, and look at life as an ongoing adventure. Trying to do too much and too fast will give you that fear that you may not succeed. Quote, don't say you don't have enough time. You have exactly the same number of hours per day that were given to Helen Keller, Pasteur, Michelangelo, Mother Teresa, Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Jefferson, and Albert Einstein. Hay Jackson Brown. End of quote. Drink vitalized drinking water every hour, and avoid artificial energy boosters giving you the yo-yo life, such as pops and sodas and coffee and black tea and alcohol, sugar and sugar-related items. Keep looking at life as an adventure and enjoy the moments, for you don't know how long this adventure lasts. Approach everything in a gentle way and constantly forgive yourself and others, realizing your shortcomings, or you end up in anger. Dealing with weight. In regards to dealing with weight, know that weight is connected to a lot of undigested matters, and matters of the past, and anger is not one of the antidotes. Be forgiving in your connections to yourself and the world, and be gentle in your ways of communicating and taking care of your body. Quote, there is something good in all seeming failures. You are not to see that now. Time will reveal it. Be patient. Swami Shivananda. End of quote. Take very simple foods which are easy to digest, and do not starve the body. Be gentle with your body in your ways of exercising, and be committed to your soul, which would like to explore and adventure the world in a healthy and fit body. Watch out for overstimulating the fire with too much fire food such as animal protein, cereals, pastas, sodas, pops, ice creams, and other sugar-related items. Get out of the stress of trying to do too much too fast, which all ask for more food and especially sugar. Dealing with disease. In regards to dealing with disease, know that when you are confronted with signs, symptoms, and/or disease patterns, to not fall into anger, because your cells will feel accused and already abused, and they most likely will go into a dormant state just like a child reacts to anger. Realize that when you fall into fear with your situation, you limit the unlimited healing powers and possibilities of the universe. Quote, "The art of medicine consists of amusing the patient, while nature cures the disease." Voltaire. As it takes many actions to create any imbalance, there are just as many possibilities to re-establish that balance. It is time to take a break and rest. It is time to re-evaluate what you are doing to yourself. Watch out for forcing and pushing yourself out of the situation, for is it not clear that your cells are asking for attention? Quote, "We achieve inner health only through forgiveness. The forgiveness not only of others, but also of ourselves." Joshua Lott Liebman. End of quote. Instead of the end result in being free of the imbalance, let's live the moment-to-moment process of your healing, which is, like anything else, a very important part of your life experience. Instead of being harsh, you can be gentler in your ways of handling the situation, which all will contribute to the healing process. Dealing with emotions. In regards to dealing with emotions, know that challenging emotions such as anger is a connection to fear. It is the fear of not being able to do and have it all, and doing things you do too fast and too much and making things complicated, resulting in indigestion. Also know that anger doesn't need to be connected to people, places and events, for it is your anger and frustration, and mostly a result you not being able to digest and deal with the situations. Do not connect these emotions, but claim them, and you will able to digest them. Quote, "My recipe for dealing with anger and frustration: set the kitchen timer for 20 minutes, cry, rant and rave, and at the sound of the bell, simmer down and go about your business as usual." Phyllis Diller. End of quote. Dealing with business. In regards to dealing with your professional life, realize that business is also an adventure, and in the adventure you cannot know all the outcomes, for then it would not be an adventure anymore. When possible, take short breaks throughout the day. Be gentle with your co-workers, and they will be more gentle with you. Quote, "If you can't describe what you are doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing." W. Edward Deming. End of quote. As there is the need for a manager in a business, become a good manager yourself in regards to your own health and well-being. Is it worth to burn yourself out and ending up in the future without any energy left? Watch out for racing towards outcomes only, for you will lose the adventure or get burned out. Life's adventure, it is not about the treasures only, but it's about the adventure finding the treasures. Be careful not to base your success on fear, for fear will catch up with you. Never come from anger, and always be ready to share your wealth. Quote, "Hell has 3 gates, lust, anger and greed." Bhagavad Gita. End of quote. As you spend a great deal of your lifetime in your profession, let's practice gentleness and forgiveness, from which you can benefit in all the other areas of your life. Dealing with destructive habits. In regards to dealing with destructive habits and addictions, know that when you get too fast angry at yourself in regards to your destructive habits and addictions, that it defeats the purpose, as anger comes from fear. Stop the fear connected to disappointment, failure, and expectations. Accept fear just as an emotion, but which has been connected to so many things, which doesn't allow you to experience the emotion, and you giving your power away by connecting it. In general, you repeat the same destructive things because they are familiar to you, and the adventure into the unknown and into the void is connected to fear. Life in creation is meant for the child within you, which has no fear, and this inner connection needs to be re-established again. Quote, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." Buddha. End of quote. Dealing with studying. In regards to studying, know that when you are trying to do too much and too fast, that you will not be able to digest and take in all the information. When you're not able to digest all the information, it will connect you with fear, and fear expresses itself through frustration and anger. This makes studying even more difficult. So be more gentle and pace yourself, because studying and learning is the adventure objective. But when you get caught with the finish line, know that it will strangle you. The energy of heat and fire makes studying possible, but too much fire will burn you out. Quote, "Genius is eternal patience." Michelangelo. End of quote. Dealing with friendships. In regards to friendships, be gentle in all your aspects, and your friends should not fear to say anything to you. Quote, "Deal with the faults of others as gently as with your own." Chinese proverb. End of quote. Do not force or push your friends, or they will push back or leave. Take breaks from each other, and when you are together, be adventurous. When you get angry in certain situations, know that the anger is yours to claim. Quote, "A true friend freely advises justly, assists readily, adventures boldly, takes all patiently, defends courageously, and continues a friend unchangeably." William Penn. End of quote. Summary. Firatos. Firatos, the guiding force of energy of fire. Most of you are constantly on the go, forcing and pushing without taking proper time to sleep, rest, taking breaks, all ending up in you being unable to digest life and resulting in anger. I am Firatos, representing the energy of fire and heat, your driving force and ability to move and venture. My energy is connected to be patient, gentle, and constructive, and be aware that you do not entertain fear. Tune in to the virtues of forgiveness and constantly forgive yourself and others, and move in such a pace that you are able to digest your life. Summary. Nothing stands still, as everything in the universe is in motion. While moving about in the world, make sure to take breaks and proper rest. Stop trying to do too much and too fast, resulting in stress and indigestion. Realize that many of your actions are based on fear and then resulting in anger. Know that you overstimulate the energy of fire through your thoughts, words, actions, and consuming improper foods. Stay aware that you can burn yourself out, blaming it all on stress and not taking proper action, as you can reduce stress on many levels in many aspects of your life. Apply a gentle and forgiving approach to yourself, others, and the world. In order to pace yourself so you can digest all experience, prepare yourself for the day of how you're going to approach life, others, and situations. And at the end of the day, write down your changes, how you handled things differently, but haven't been exposed to the information about Firatos. Affirmation. I gently pace myself and move with patience through the adventures of life, constantly forgiving myself and others. I keep the balance between action and rest in order to digest my experiences. Petrus.